Oh, my heart. Amelia Earhart, that is. Born on July 24, 1897 in Atchison, Kansas, Amelia Earhart is the most famous aviatrix of all time. Growing up, Amelia was not a girly girl. She preferred climbing trees, hanging out in abandoned carriages, and shooting rats with a .22 rifle. God, you were allowed to do anything back then. After Amelia finished high school, she went on to a finishing school for girls but didn't finish finishing. Instead, she became a nurse's aide in a Canadian military hospital during World War I. She then spent some time with her sister in Massachusetts playing the banjo and taking an auto mechanics course. Then, on December 28, 1920, at an air show, she got her first taste of the skies from pilot Frank Hawks. She wrote that after that ride, she needed to fly. She took her first flying lesson 6 days later, and she was officially hooked. In 6 months, she'd saved enough to buy herself a bright yellow biplane she called the Canary. In less than a year after her first flight, she got her pilot's license, and 2 days after that, she flew in an air show. Flying was an expensive hobby, and Amelia struggled to support her flying and herself as a human. She did a short stint at Columbia, worked as a social worker, sales representative, and an English teacher. But all that changed in 1928 when she was offered a chance to be the first woman to fly across the Atlantic. And by first woman to fly, they meant just be a woman sitting in the plane while someone else flies it. The plane left Newfoundland on June 17, 1928 and landed in Wales 21 hours later. The pilot was paid $20,000, the mechanic $5,000, and Amelia was paid in experience and opportunity. But it proved worth it. When she got back to New York, a man approached her from a prominent American publishing firm to write a book on her experiences. His name was George P. Putnam, and he would become her promoter/fundraiser/husband in 1931. Her next feat was becoming the second person and first woman to fly across the Atlantic solo. Bad weather forced her to land this historic flight in an Irish cow pasture, but hey, it's about the journey, right? Not the destination. The point was she did it, and everybody lost their mind. Hoover gave her a medal. Congress gave her the Distinguished Flying Cross, which is a thing. She then set an altitude record. She was the first person to fly solo from Honolulu to California, first to fly solo from Mexico City to Newark. She had so many firsts. You never forget your first. But to be fair, flying was super new, so there were many firsts to be had. But the big one that Amelia had her Earhart set on was to be the first woman to fly around the world. She got herself a new plane, a Lockheed Electra, she got a navigator, Fred Noonan, and prepped a flying route. But the first go-ahead was a bust. The plane didn't even take off before it was severely damaged. But resilient Amelia did not give up. She raised funds to fix the plane, organized the route again, and they took off for real this time on June 1st, 1937. Most of the trip was made without incident, except someone's maps were inaccurate, Fred, which made navigation, impossible. And of course, he wouldn't stop and ask for directions. Their goal was to go from Lae, New Guinea to Howland Island, which is an island just 1 square mile in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, which is like trying to find a needle in an open field full of haystacks. So, without good maps, she attempted celestial navigation, but an overcast sky made that impossible. There was a Coast Guard boat offshore that Earhart was connected to by radio, but the connection was spotty. At 7:42 a.m., the ship received this message: "We must be on you, but we cannot see you. Fuel is running low. Been unable to reach you by radio. We are flying at 1,000 feet." At 8:43 a.m. on July 3rd, U.S. Coast Guard vessel Itasca received the last communication from Earhart and launched an immediate search that cost $4 million and spanned 250,000 miles of ocean. But the plane was never found. Amelia never did become the first woman to fly around the world, but she proved that pilots didn't all have to look like this. While her story ends in tragedy, her life was anything but. And so Amelia reminds us that for ambitious, passionate women who don't fit the mold, the sky's the limit.